Going right now, my dear. Okay, countdown going on right now.
Let's rock. Y'all, it's Sue Bloom. Welcome. It is February, Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. And Florida. So you can see the little logo up there in the right hand corner where Mick's at. We are waiting for. I'm excited with you all. You guys all being here? Yes, that's it. I know, isn't it weird? You like pointing different places.
Yeah, getting a little lag there.
Yeah, a little bit of lag going on, man.
So we're getting like some of her words and not all the words.
Go with it. You know,
that's a song. Lag. I'm going to do something about that.
Robbie Sin on bass guitar.
Yes, ma'am.
The man, the myth, the legend, Eddie Cruz.
Hi, Sue.
Who
how
we
you doing?
just found out that Eddie is the stunt double for Tom Cruise.
Yeah, he doesn't pay very good.
We've got a melodic hard rockers out of Tampa, Florida. Yes, of course. Let me get a little bit into the backstory before Kenny gets in. The band was formed. Juliet was formed basically in 1985 out of Florida, and by a guy by the name of Jimmy and Ty. And long after that, they headed out to California. And in 1988, they basically moved, to LA to do some of the, to get part of, some of the more metal scene of the music industry. And they got signed to 80s, if you remember. It was a lot, right?
Yeah, I went out there myself. I got me some of that scene. It was the best.
Do either of the three of you, were you out there? Okay. So, like, it's so much different these days doing the whole, record companies. It's like record companies really don't sign people anymore. It's more like distribution companies. And then you get screwed from them too, because you're not getting your royalty up or whatever. So, I mean, really, making money in the music industry isn't anything like it was back in the 80s, because I was still doing the rock thing, but I was, I was just a state away from that whole thing. But, today the industry is completely different. So they did an album, and the first album was called Passion, which eventually did get shelved, which sucks. I believe is that they hooked up with Kevin DuBrow from Quiet Riot.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did Kevin produce that album? Do y'all know?
Yeah,
I believe he did.
Yes.
He played on
producing that album too. Yeah.
Yeah, he played on some tracks. What's the one song? Boys Will Be Boys. He played on that track, I know for sure.
And you can kind of hear it when you
Right here.
hear that Kevin
There
DeBruy
it is.
style too in there with the mixed, you know.
That's the Passion CD
Oh,
right
okay.
Yeah, so which
there. So the
Robbie's
record
got the
everybody
stuff.
knew, the 1990
He's
release was the one
got
that
all
it
the cool
really
stuff.
hit.
Eddie, you have the T-shirt.
Mhm.
All right, what's he saying to
And
me?
okay, so in '90 was that the album that was produced by Frankie Sullivan from Survivor?
Yes.
Did Frankie produced the next album after that?
Is that the one that he did produce? That's the main record, I
And
believe, in
I guess it was a
1990.
situation, and
I'm
I
just
think that was self-titled
getting
Juliet at that point.
no.
That's
Kenny's
Yeah,
trying to. Yeah. So that
and
first one was Kevin
he
DeBruy,
wasn't
and I got Kenny trying to
arrested.
talk to me at the same time, getting logged in.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's go. Come on.
And okay, and then so Brown did the Passion album. Is that how that went?
Yeah. And Frankie
That
Benally played some drums on that thing.
shelves.
Yeah.
So then the next, go ahead. I'm sorry, Robbie. Robbie, did you want to talk about the second album or the first album at all?
I'm trying to get my volume back. I could barely hear you.
Technical
Did I
difficulties.
lose you?
It's like having a bad sound man, you know?
I think if you can hear me, Kenny just tried to video chat me and it killed my audio.
Ah,
I have that effect on men. They
right.
freeze up all the
God, I
time.
can't hear nothing now. Hello? All right. What's that?
Okay, so then we have Frankie Sullivan, who's the guitarist for Survivor, and he produces the and then so we're all looking. Y'all are looking for. Actually, they do a job, and the lead singer doesn't show up, and that's when Kenny McGee, who we're waiting for him to log on. That's when he steps
In my back.
in.
I was sabotaged by Kenny. He tried to video chat me or something, and then like, you're in the wrong room, buddy, and then it killed my audio.
The technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Because
And then I lost you.
such is
But
life.
yeah, back to what you were saying. It was Kevin DeBruy in the first one, and then Frankie Sullivan. He was with Survivor, I believe, right? And he did the second record, I think. Whether Kenny can figure out how to get in should be interesting.
Right.
Oh man, he's trying.
I can hear you now, at least.
Oh. Email Kenny.
Word in on from it back then. Kenny, email at admin, ADMIN, Doc G will give you a little heads up on how to get Kenny in here. So, so as we'll wait for Kenny to get in, let's go around the room. Mick, you're the guitar player.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of background, or tell us a little bit about your expertise in guitar playing. Who was like, who were some of the influences that
Randy
got
Rhoads.
you into playing?
Randy Rhoads for sure. I was obsessed with Randy Rhoads. Even as a young teen, Randy Rhoads had seen play that was just mind blowing, and stuff. And I love Eddie Van Halen and everything, and then of course as I'm a little bit longer, George Lynch, and Warren DeMartini, all the '80s, rats and stuff. But a high influence of mine was actually my grandfather, because my dad played in a band called the Wanderers, which had a '50s kind of a sound. He played guitar in that band. But my grandfather was really good. You know, played guitar,
Oh,
violin,
cool.
anything with strings. It was very. So he was so. I was really heavily influenced because we'd always go over to the house and not. I can never not even remember one time that the instruments weren't drug out and playing me and stuff. And that really got me kind of started into the music. But what got me into rock and roll, funny enough, when I was a kid, across the street they were having
So
they
you
were
come from a long line. Yeah,
they
you
were having a garage sale across the street, and I bought a record album, and I brought it home, and I opened it up, and it had an album in it. But there was two albums. There was an Orange album. That was Boston's first album.
Showing your age where you're throwing that album word around.
Hey, I grew up doing the good stuff, and then Van Halen. So those albums I would play as a kid, and that
I
heavily
grew up then too.
Yeah, so back in the days when music was just heavily influenced and stuff. But yeah, that stuck me into it.
So you come from a long line of
yeah.
You've come from a long line of musicians that were very influential in your life.
Oh, I was obsessed with guitar. I mean, my dad kept.
And you wanted to grow up and be a rock and roll star.
And my dad would always rerun the story when I was 2 years old. I kept climbing in trying to get into his guitars under the bed, and I got a real nice Fender, and I broke the neck off it. And it reminded me over and over for years about that incident. And so he would just leave guitar sitting out after that, a little bit.
Oh
cheaper.
my God.
So, but yeah, hey, but yeah, it was good having family that was music. It always had the music going, and I think a lot of our families, and probably Eddie's too, and everybody, and Rob's the same way, and back then, and back years ago, I mean, everybody really got together. You had neighbors would barbecue, and then everybody came together, So somebody out that group, there was definitely always somebody that played something, so and everything. But yeah, I was obsessed with the 80s hard rock and stuff, 70s,
Right.
late 70s, 80s hard rock and stuff. And as a kid, I was a very young kid. I moved out to LA in 86. And I mean, I was young, not knowing anybody. And I basically got a plane ticket for my birthday, and I wasn't not even 19. I got a plane ticket, and I got I had about $50 with me and a guitar. And all I can remember doing is I got off the plane and telling the taxi guy, take me to Sunset and Hollywood Boulevard. I didn't know where to go. But so I got to know what shelters were, walking on the scene. It was really cool with a lot of musicians everywhere. But, we definitely roughed it, out on there, but staying in shelters, and eventually from one of the guys that I got along with at shelter, was a guy who was in a hard rock metal, and he had a friend that had a house. So he's like, hey, you want to stay here? And that got me off the street and stuff. And then I joined a band called Giant, which played there and everything. But that was kind of my start in the induction of LA and that kind of music, but in 86. But it was magical because, I mean, just, even though I had to pay to play,
Right.
The whiskey, but it was like,
Yeah, that's right.
Music was everywhere though, it was rock and roll, had a great vibe. Music was fun, it wasn't, and like everything wasn't always serious, we had a good time, and hey, and free roadies, remember that, Robbie? But yeah, it was a good time.
But that's where things were happening.
Yep.
That's where things were happening, right on the strip,
Yeah.
the whiskey and
On
the
the strip.
Troubadour and a lot
Yeah.
of those places.
I'm glad I moved out there and got to experience
um,
that, because those were the times, dude.
And some of them are still open.
Oh yeah, I thought that when I got to the whiskey, I thought, this place is going to be immense, like big, and I got there and I got.
It's a good thing you're not, with.
I was like, that's it. It was like, it wasn't huge, I was like,
Oh my God, yeah.
You got to realize,
I'm looking at getting a room at the Cecil Hotel. It's like,
I grew up in a town under 5,000 people in the Midwest in Illinois where there's nothing.
and
And
crazy.
going from there to that transformation was like, just mind blowing, and everything. But yeah, it was a great experience, and rough. You're out there, you're trying to survive. You get
Yeah.
back in that era, you would a lot of the bands would make a pack, and I remember, and Bobby Dahl was close to me. His son played in my band, but not long ago. But Bobby told me that when they were Paris then that none of them were allowed to work a job. They're gonna make it. We're all dedicated to make this, and we're only gonna put 100% focus into that. But that's how it kind of was. You really went for it, and you ate when you could, literally, and stuff to survive. But still, it was an amazing time.
So it's just a guitar player and a bass player, man. This is
I
great.
think that's
We
that's
lost Eddie a while ago, I guess. He's probably talking to Kenny.
There you go. We lost Eddie.
Yeah, he'll make it. They'll figure it out right near the end.
Yeah.
We'll get
He's
Kenny
having
in
me
here,
do
so-
everything anyway. He doesn't know how to tinker around anything internet.
Just sitting there. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Even when we got the new backdrop made, the big giant banner. I mean, I had
So
to
Robbie,
cover
you
every-
were around the same time. Were you out there around the same time that Mick was?
I don't know, but I was out there about the same time the original lineup of Juliet was, and right before that, and right all those few years right there, late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah, they were playing in '88. I remember on there because my friends Rockin' Horse were playing out, and that I remember seeing the name at the time on one of the venues there. But I think it was '88 or something like that. Yeah,
Kenny
so-
sabotaged me again with this damn trying to start a
And that's what
video
Robbie-
chat, and I lose my volume.
It's gonna take us all out. It's just gonna be me here for it's over with. That's
Oh
Sure.
my God, what did he do?
yeah, but yeah, it's but yeah, we're covering it. That 1990 album. We pretty much do the whole album. Every song's really good off the whole thing, and everything. But it's this band we got is really good, really tight stuff. So everybody gets along good, and you're just really good players, and easy to work with. We're a good unit.
Yeah, I can't hear nothing.
We're a very strong
Because every
unit.
time Kenny calls me on the messenger,
Was
it kills my volume on the phone.
If I remember correctly, it wasn't more like a pay to play situation. I mean,
Oh,
you had to sell
absolutely.
tickets
About
and
150 tickets normally. Play the whiskey, 150
but
tickets.
you had to pay X number of dollars of that.
Yeah. We had to sell 150 tickets. So
And you weren't giving those away.
you had to sell these things.
My gosh, how much to get 150? Hey, Mick, it's just down to you, me.
Oh yeah, there we go. Kitty's taking everybody out.
How much were you charging for a ticket? Yeah, there we go. Now we won't have any problems.
I mean, back then it was like
how much
$5,
was a ticket to?
Usually ranging between 5 and 10. Back in that time, it wasn't too bad, and stuff. A lot of their upsell too. You got to realize in the whiskey stuff is drinks, drinks and everything.
No,
that they make a lot of their money off of too, and everything. But it's like, yeah, getting there. But yeah, I always envisioned this whiskey as being this gigantic venue, being a kid in a little town in the Midwest and this stuff. And I was like, oh, being there and everything playing. I was like, okay, it's not that big. Clubs back home are bigger than that one, So hey, we got
Back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Back.
Made it back.
Oh my God.
We lost Robbie though. I guess he got taken out.
Well,
Any
Kenny keeps calling
cruise
people and
band.
screwing us up.
So so like you weren't taking ads out like in the local newspaper at that point. You were stapling your
Flyers,
gig
flyers,
to
flyers,
the
flyers.
nearest telephone pole and
Oh
trying to
yeah.
promote that way to get people into
And the
the
thing
show.
is, it was so tight a competition then that you had the other bands stapling their flyer over yours on purposely, So like it was, you would find your, like a day or two later, you'd find your flyer like under about 3 flyers of different bands that went over the top of you. So it was like kind of cutthroat out there back then, and stuff. But well, yeah, we made you would
Right.
make endless flyers
Right.
playing out there to, you had to,
Like,
Like I said,
Eddie, can
take
you
away.
can
What's that?
somebody send Kenny an email?
I just
And-
resent him the link.
Yeah.
Admin, what just came up? Admin at Hamilton.
Yeah.
Did you make contact with him? Admin
Yeah,
at
just-
hamiltonradio.net. Just have Kenny email Doc, and he will help him get in to this little soiree.
I sent him the link again. He put a heart on it, so maybe he's trying
Okay,
to figure
never
it out.
mind. I'm tied because of
Well, all those guys were in
all this
LA.
fun stuff that we're having.
Yeah.
While all those guys were in LA in the 80s, I was playing like 25 nights a month because the market was so huge. So I got in bands and I started playing. I was playing like all the time. And back then, the drinking age was like 19 and the bars were like just slammed 7 nights a week. So we were doing like 6 states in the Midwest and I never got hardly any time off. So I never had to go out there. It kept me busy in the Midwest and, like early 80s too. 85, I was real busy.
Yeah.
So are you doing it? So at this point, Eddie, are you doing cover stuff? Are you doing original stuff? Or is a little mix of both?
No, this is all original music.
With your
This is
band that
from
was
the
out in the
albums, the
Midwest.
Juliet albums, yeah, all original music.
Out here at that time, it was the A circuit. It was all cover bands.
Oh,
you
you mean
played
back
the
then?
originals inside of all that.
Oh, back then, yeah. Back then in the 80s, we were doing. It was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
To play that much, you had to play covers. So we had a guy who could sing like Journey and Starship, so we worked all the time.
Right.
But we also wrote songs. We were like I recorded. My first time I recorded was in Pumpkin Studios.
I just got a message that said, "Hey guys,"
up there in Illinois, where Styx recorded their albums at.
Yeah.
That was like a long time ago. But we recorded an album and stuff, but to work a lot, you had to play the covers.
Yeah, that gave you some money to eat too. It's good.
Yeah,
originals. Now we did have there. At least there was places with the original band. There was a lot of places you could play back then. And so,
yeah. I mean, it was like
you didn't make the money to play the covers, but you could, But Versus as the years went along, original bands started shrinking because where are they going to go play?
Well,
Yeah, all the bands were
there
like,
were a lot more places to play.
A lot, like 20 times more. Yeah.
Oh, way more. Yeah. There was just, there was the fire for original music. Every, wanted to hear it, too. So, then we went to that period of time to where it really went down.
Yeah, like in 88 through 90, we were recording, we were writing our own songs. We had all of our own songs in our set, but you had to mix it up with some cover stuff. That's kind of how we did it. We play a couple covers, then we play our song and stuff like that, but it was always a mix. It was always mixed in, and it was really receptive. People were receptive to that back then, That's kind of how it worked,
Yep. Good time.
Working a lot these days, trying to play some music.
And
He still ain't make it in, huh?
Well,
The singers are always late.
I'm pounding the fuck out of the room, guys.
tapes
All I
back then.
see are you guys.
We sure as hell weren't pressing vinyl then. You know, I mean, that stuff was just too expensive. But yeah, I mean, I think the industry has changed so much. Not only, you know, in venues to play, but also bands. You know, who outlasted who, and
Yeah.
and
You know,
you
I
know,
think
Edith
the clubs,
Denny
you know, and the club had a part to do with that
and
too,
do
because you know, as clubs were started kind of like in between, like the music playing in between the bands. Back then, you would hear rock playing and stuff, and then as it got a little bit longer, then you start hearing just dance in between. You know, band sets. All you're hearing is just dance music playing and everything. So that started getting, you know, taken over. But it definitely shifted more over to the dance, you know. But yeah,
Keeps messaging me.
I've seen a surge of original music though in this last decade, really coming back, and a lot of young kids bands coming back to where they sound like they're out of the 70s or partial 80s. I see that emergence coming. There's some really good stuff out there, you know. I've been listening to, so which is great. You know? Always welcome good music. But yeah, it's definitely.
Did you find that a lot of the rooms that you played, or was PA provided?
Oh, that's a toss up, you know, because yeah, some of the ones in LA we had to bring a lot of stuff. And it kind of just depends where you're at city-wise too, you know. In the Midwest, a lot of the PA was provided. I know.
Yeah. Where we play, we never brought PA. It was always they always had big PAs and lots of lights.
Yeah.
We brought a pyro guy and a crew. Back then, we had like a 3-man crew. You know, I didn't really have to do nothing except play, which was, you know. But we, yeah, everything was provided for us pretty much. You know.
Yeah.
There'll be no more.
There was always a crowd too. I mean,
hey,
no more fires.
Always slammed back then.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we all had like tons of free roadies because everybody wanted to be part of to hang with the bands over there.
Yeah.
There was hands everywhere. Look, you know, now we're all just carrying in our own stuff. You know, it's like, you know, and everything. But times have changed, you know, and we all help each other out, you know, in our band. But it used to be that's the one big difference back in that, you know, 80s era that, you know, each band had a big, large group of people that hung with you, you know, and there'd be a lot of guys hanging with us, you know, and stuff. And, you know, they'd always be bringing everything in, carrying on. It kind of spoiled us a little bit, you know, but yeah.
We had like a 3-man crew, these 3 biker guys that worked for us, but we traveled a lot, so we were always
carrying around gear and R64 cans that had.
Lobby damn!
Yeah, right.
Hey, my instructions work.
I'm in the house now. Jesus.
All right. There we go.
All right.
Hey, my instructions
Let
work.
me get my back scratcher first. Everybody relax. All those little fibs y'all been telling why I didn't come on the air. Now I'm on the air. Now let's get the truth out. Who wants to talk
the
some
ceiling.
shit?
Kenny.
I'm pissed off,
That
dude.
beautiful
Take
face.
this phone
We've been
over
waiting
there.
for you.
All right, here we are. What are we gonna really talk about? Hi, Sue Bloom.
There you are.
Hold on, let me scratch my back for a
Yes.
second here. All right, can y'all hear me?
Things freezing up, but
Yeah, we hear you.
we're working around. I can hear you. I can see you.
Well, that's
Can
a
you
good
all
thing.
see Kenny and hear him?
They can hear me.
And nod.
You know they can hear me. I'm so pissed.
You did it.
You did it,
Anyways,
man.
They've heard you now, Kenny, and
What do you
Nova
want to know?
Scotia.
I mean, no, I'm on the laptop now. I don't even know what's going on. I never even seen this kind of format.
We already
know,
went
I've
through the
been I
passion
mean,
record.
Robbie,
And,
I kept interrupting. Robbie kept saying, sending that thing going,
Well,
press it. I said, I've been punching this phone so hard. Hey, but it don't matter. I'm here now. So what did you want to know about Passion
well,
or
we've been,
Juliet or anything? Because I'm here to, I'm like
well, what
the
we've
truth
been
teller.
talking.
I'm listening.
I got
I'm
Guinness.
missing a
I'm
few,
good.
so help me out. Will ya? No, what we've been talking about. Straight vodka
What have y'all been? What I've been
at
telling y'all.
this
Y'all been
point.
talking
I'm done
about
with you.
Passion, Passion,
We
record of Juliet. And that's
well,
a
we were talking
self-titled.
about the early days of Juliet. There's
Yeah,
Early
there you go.
and I mean,
That
there's
must
so
be the
many.
new CD that we have.
That's why I was wanting to look at. That's the
And
earliest. That's actually was the first wet record, and I hate all these. And man, that's what was making me upset. Not
that one right
upset.
there is
Just I always want to get the story straight, and that's why my music career and my book is not even close to being done. But I've been doing this since I was 14, and I mean our next record will be my 12th record, and 25 records that I wrote on and produced on. But the very first record that Juliet made was the Passion record, and it wasn't called Passion; it was called Boys Will Be Boys, and and all this stuff that we showcased for Kevin DeBro and all that more bull. I don't know who made up this stuff. I mean, but I know a lot of people like to do this when they should be doing this when they don't know anything. But anyway, my manager, I was in a vehicle with Johnny Lee Middleton from Trans-American. That's the band Lefty. I met Kevin DeBro in a after hours bottle club. There was no showcase. I mean, the bottom line was Juliet at that time when I left Lefty and basically took over Juliet, brought my own road crew and the manager who just passed away this last year. And he was the man that put the money up and made Juliet stood because he stood with me. And he's the one that named me the Golden Boy. That's why my publishing company is called Golden Boy Music, the whole 9 yards. That's just all the truth. Juliet at that time was a band. What they asked me to maybe join them because two of the guys in the four-piece Lefty were a little bit older than us. And I went out and saw whatever that version of Juliet was with a girl keyboard player and nothing I was interested in. But they proceeded to, Jimmy and Ty proceeded to come, come around and keep telling me, come this way. And then when my guys didn't want to be on the road as much because they were a few years older than Johnny and I, and that was the icing on the cake for me to make my next move because I'm always moving forward. And that was the part of the deal. But you got to, John, when to get into Left, I was in a band called The Models with Johnny, and then Lefty wanted us, and I said it's me. They wanted me, and I said, well, it's me and Johnny, or neither one of us, and that's how that. But Lefty is when I wrote Baby Blue, She's So Shy, I'm No Angel, everything that's on Passion, and I wrote that way before Juliet even existed. And then Kevin DeBro, which I said, I met him in a bottle club, and I'm just going to tell you the bottom line on things. He didn't give a flip about me. He had just passed Michael Jackson to be number one in the world with a four-piece rock band. That had never happened. That's what caused the explosion on the Sunset Strip. The thought that instead of having to spend all this money on a Michael Jackson record. Are you serious? We can get 4 guys that
Right.
we can rip off where they're publishing and make them go to #1 and have a lot less invested. And that, but they just had no idea that it was going to go like Motley Crue. I mean, when is there, what other than the 80s, I would like, bring it on. Tell me another 10 years where more different bands had gold and platinum records at the same time. Music was more popular. It was more fun. It was more, you got to see it. You got, MTV was just like Cream magazine to us,
Yeah.
but when I met
Yeah.
Kevin, and here's the most blunt story as it was, I was in the singer of Juliet. I was just at the end of the bar. That's all it was. And God, the God that I serve, because that's the only way that I would ever see Kevin DeBro. And I'm a kid from Copper Hill, Tennessee, playing all up and down you know, the East Coast, I guess. I would be all up in the Carolinas and stuff. And the only reason he asked to meet me was because I had like 4 girls and he had like 1. That's the only reason. He just said, "Who's that guy?" And then he called me over. The girl called me over. And then he said, "Hey, I heard you got a band." And I said, "Yeah, the best." That's exactly what I said to him. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Oh, really?" And he goes, "Do you have a demo?" Well, yes. Here it is. I had to lie. I had to go, of course I have a demo. But it was Lefty's demo. It was my songs that I recorded with Lefty.
Hmm.
And he goes, "Well, tomorrow night you bring me that demo to the show." And I'm now, believe me, this is 3, 4 in the morning. So the next day. I didn't know if he would remember it or if that was just something that, it was like, people say at 4 in the morning at a bottle club, then people say a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So he said I'd be on the guest list to bring. I was on the guest list. Took me back there. He took me on the stage, everything. But all I cared about was that cassette. And I had that cassette. And I mean, and then I'll listen to that after the show. So after the show,
Right.
backstage, I'm
Exactly.
sure you've been to, it was insanity. So all I could do, and he goes, "You can come back to the hotel with us and ride on the bus." And I said, "I'm driving. I got my car. I'll meet you there." So once again, we get to the hotel. He's swamped with fans. I'm standing there. They think I'm with him. They know, and all I care about is playing him this demo. So finally, out of nowhere, he said, you take that. Let's go to the bus."
Right.
So we went to the bus, and he played it. He heard "She's So Shy." Then he heard "I'm No Angel." Then he goes, "Is that you singing?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Did you write that?" And I said, "Yes." And got done. He said, I think it's great." "I'd love to produce it, And he goes, "Here's my number." I said, "I have a manager," which was Richard at Cortez, and gave it to Richard. Richard went and met with him. They made the arrangements. He came to Tampa, and we did it at Morrisound. That's why Janie Lane, who I've known, I'm not gonna like say everything I know about Janie, but I've known him since when we were young. It was that was a hard hit when to me, he was one of the best songwriters in the '80s, definitely for sure. And I enjoyed his voice tremendously. And we had history from just before he was in
Right.
war, like he was when he was in Dorian Gray, the same type situation. But when Kevin, by the time we got out there with Kevin's reputation had deteriorated, and then some labels didn't want to go with. They wanted to start all over. So then, when Enigma Capital signed us, they just skipped over that record. And even though that had the Passion record. That's Frankie Benelli. God bless his soul, playing drums on that because it was always a roadblock. That's the music business. I heard Mick talking about that. It's always something
Right.
in the music business. It's always if you can't persevere, if you don't believe in yourself, if you can't take criticism, you're in the wrong business. And I've been in this business for a long time, and with a lot of great people, I've written with
That's
some of the
it.
best there is. And what when Frankie came in, he's 11 top 10 singles, Grammy Award winner, People's Choice Award winner, and then we became great friends. We're still great friends,
Right.
and then the third album is the Psycho Boyfriend album, and that was when we kind of knew that we or had the premonition that Ty was going to pass. He was not doing well,
Michael
and it
Boyfriend.
was
Yeah, it
very
was good.
there. It is right there, and that
Did
is
you
a
work with
great album.
Frankie
But
Sullivan at that point?
and now in our new album, and while we moved to LA, and my manager, he didn't baby us. Don't get that. He wasn't a sugar daddy. I mean, it was like we called him Squeaky.
Right.
I mean, it was barely the
Uh-huh.
money coming out, but all the stuff wouldn't. Well, he got a band house for the guys, but I stayed with Kevin, so I was in the Hollywood Hills. I was loving it, but I was trying to make sure I was concentrating on getting that deal. And, we're there. There's Guns N' Roses playing at, Gazzari's, and we're playing at Roxy, and LA Guns is playing at the Whiskey a Go Go. And then you go to the Troubadour, and Poison's playing, I mean, the Bang Tango is one of. I mean, I love bands like that, like Eonian Records, that's who we're signed to, is they just lately signed that band Taz, and when I lived in Hollywood, I always said I just could never understand why Taz never got signed, and then here they are so many years later. But the Juliet story right now is like this story of what these guys were just telling me. It's like I couldn't imagine playing with more together guys at our age,
Right.
that still want to do it and do it right. I mean,
That's a
Robbie has
conversation
his
me and you
little
had.
spiral notebook. I'm forgetting the word. I just look over to him, and he'll just tell me in my ear. He's got the old yellow marker
And
with the
that's
highlights where he sings and where
and
he
that's
doesn't sing. I'm like, hey
and
man,
that's
let's just rock. Hit it.
Detailed.
So
Very detailed.
I just wanted to make sure everything was clear. And
whatever happens, we're just gonna
and,
go with it. I know.
and yeah, I mean, all
So
this
Kenny,
is
you're
this.
basically the main songwriter of the over.
Yes, yes. Actually, uh, yeah, I'm not afraid. Only me and Ty have songwriting credits from the band. Nobody else in Juliet had songwriting credits on that first album, but me and Ty
Oh, okay.
and people I wrote with outside. And that's probably just really stung somebody right there. But it's just the truth. All you have to do is open up the album and read the credits, and
But the thing about it is,
but
back then, it was it was a heck of a lot different than it is today. To get the stuff
No
out there
comparison.
is completely different than it was back in the day in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, the entire record community has totally freaking changed. Hands down.
oh, absolutely. Well, that comes, I mean, that
So,
when you when you raise your kids and you have
well,
your family and you make your money off music, and that's what you are, a song and dance man, and that's what I am. It's like streaming. It's great for this kind of stuff, but for how people can just steal our music, easily. I mean, iHeartRadio. I I mean, they play my latest solo record, The Pitcher, and they also play my solo record, Legends Roll, on constant right there. And I mean, I mean, it's, and I don't even have to name a band for Alexa. All I got to do, she's probably listening anyway, and all I got to do is say play Kenny McGee music, and it'll play my whole library. And that's the expansion of what this band's doing right now. We're just knocking them dead with exactly what they want. The last show we did, we gave them the songs they haven't heard since, I don't know, late 80s, like Help. We hadn't done that since then, and so it was so refreshing because all these guys are lead singers.
It was a damn good show too. I ain't seen people that happy. I ain't seen people that happy in a long time.
They were right there. That's where they stayed all night, right there in my hand. That's where it was. They loved every minute of it. But that's why you do it. If we would have went out there and it would have been like, dadgum, maybe we should have just hung it up. But that ain't the vibe we got. And if you saw the video, that ain't the vibe we got. And that wasn't the vibe we got afterwards. And it's not the vibe we're getting now. And it's not the vibe,
right?
I get on the internet constantly. I mean, we have shirts, buttons, hats, everything. We understand the game, and what and how much we have to put into. I mean, but we don't go short on that. And I heard them making fun of me about the backdrop. That's because I didn't understand what they were saying with the JPEG and a V file. But I did know I wanted the biggest banner that they had. I knew that, and well,
we got it.
We got it's big, Yeah, you can read it. You won't be going, what's that say? No, you won't be saying that about that.
2 miles away.
Yeah, even blind.
And that's the way we do it. How many more? How many more stacks can Mick put up? I mean, it's like, to me, we're like we are.
Rock and roll is not for sissies.
Rock band,
right?
Huh?
Rock and roll's not for sissies. You got to bring your amps.
Please.
Got to bring your amps or your sissy.
No, rock and roll is not for sissies. Oh yeah, but I love when people try to tell me a little solid state pedal is going to sound like a Marshall stack.
Oh man, no way.
It's like, that little pedal is going to sound like a Marshall stack. Yeah, in your dreams, it's because you're lazy, But they ain't nobody lazy in this band, and that's why I drive all the way down there or anywhere to do a good show.
Yeah. They got the sample from a Marshall cabinet.
And I talked that over you, didn't I?
Right?
I came on like a freight train, but that's what I do.
Well, that's a cool story how we put this thing back together, man.
People want to be entertained.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah, that was a great story. I mean, I was so one just to get out and play, but I mean, we just. That's the thing about this Juliet. I mean, and it wouldn't matter if we were called Black Diamond or Sign Up Free here. It says over here in the corner. I mean, it wouldn't matter what it was said. The chemistry, it was like we practiced. We came in, we played exactly what we said we were going to play.
Yeah, that was
in the room standing around like going, what?
That was a good first night.
Like, I mean, we did a little tweaking. Yeah, that was it. Was I'm looking forward to next Wednesday night.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do a little snippet of 8 Lives Gone. We're gonna do a little snippet of 8 Lives Gone, if that's okay with y'all.
Absolutely.
Sure. Drop D.
Doc, are you in the background there queuing that up for me?
It is, Mick. There it is.
Yeah, right.
If it's not, Robbie's going to play.
Let me go get my drum set.
Robbie's going to play his part.
Where's the
Man,
drum
you guys
set?
don't know how lucky I am.
I took you guys in the other room.
There's my gong.
Eddie, I'm sure you can beat on the desk.
I start playing
Hey,
the
I
white
got my picks somewhere around here.
There
No,
it
they were
is.
upstairs. I was
I
all
need a
set up
Juliet
upstairs. I was gonna
tag.
click.
I need a
I was all
Juliet
set up
t-shirt.
upstairs. I was gonna click the button and come on, but then I almost threw everything around this house twice, and then all of a
You
sudden,
ain't the only
it
one.
ain't that easy. I got
You
it
ain't the
on.
only
So
one. I
I'm
had
like,
troubles too.
For-
ah. Let's hear some 8 Lives Gone. But
8 Lives.
we
Yeah.
were talking
8 Lives Gone or hell for
about
no
you
more
anyway.
tears. Huh? I didn't hear what
we
she
were
said.
talking about you anyway. Even though you weren't here, we were
Oh,
talking
I
about you.
was listening. I was listening.
It was all good
And I was going,
stuff.
that's not right. That's not right. It was like, it's like watching that, like, bad, going, what? You know, I'm like, wait a minute, I need to get on there. No, it went this way, or backwards. I mean, because I'll
So
never
we
be
need
able to make
spectators.
people understand it passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were there. That's why we need
And
you.
I was
on.
like, I don't
Yeah.
think it's like, I know, and making me, he was sending me things going, you know, we need
Mick
you
and
here,
I
you know.
and Robbie
I'm
and
going, yeah, I know. What's
I've been
that?
in love with Kenny's voice now for like 34 years.
we were filling in because we know you were the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had to watch. He couldn't, and then he
Well,
finally
that's
joined.
what I was born to be, the man.
Yeah.
So what do we? So what do you have coming up? I mean, I know. Okay, y'all are playing on February 23rd, which is a Friday at the Alley in Sanford, Florida.
Yeah.
In fact,
Yeah.
I sent them the link of where they could tune in tonight. They
Yeah,
were so kind.
$25 and $35 at the door.
So what can the people
And
in
Revolt will
Sanford?
be opening.
$35 at the door. Is that
Yeah.
anything I can drink, or everything I can drink or eat?
Well, you should
Okay.
do that anyway.
If you show up, let's see what
And your
happens.
opening act is Revolt.
Revolt, yeah.
Yeah. Super nice guy.
Send me
Revolt
the
is
company jet.
opening up the show. They're a lot of
I'll
fun
get
guys.
my
They're
ass
fun.
in it and I'll fly down.
Yes.
I'm not hard to get along with. You just, Kenny, you send me the company jet because I think it's parked out back in your driveway.
I can't.
Who's this guy at right there?
Eddie, do they let you fly on the jet, or do they make you
See that
go
pretty
I'll
dude in the
drive.
middle of that blonde dude right there? Look at that. Look at
I
look
like
at
drive.
that.
Woo-wee!
Can you imagine
I towed the
that
gear.
walking
I'm
down Hollywood
driving.
Boulevard about 1985?
Morgan Fairchild.
That was some good living right there.
Ooh, look at that.
And I ain't done
Dude,
with
the
that. I
album,
still like to do all that.
the bass.
Yeah, right. You better believe it, baby.
Awesome.
You know, but it's like
So
we're not
what-
like doing this
What do
like
you
a
have
joke.
planned?
You know, we're doing this. Say that again.
Because you're doing it.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're doing
I-
it
and
because
I-
that's
and I
what
mean,
you
I don't-
do.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, and it's something that's like, it's like when you don't see people for years, you know, and they're like, they went and pick something, a doctor, you know, and they go, are you still playing music? Like it was like a fad I was going through. I'm like, are you still a doctor? It's like, you know, this is what I do. You know what I mean? And it's like, how can I not get up on that stage? That's like asking me if I'm
Right.
nervous. It's like, nervous? No, just worry that one of my rings don't hit you in the head when you're up there with me. That's about the only thing when we go
Yeah.
up there to play, because we're the most aggressive, casual band. If what a paradox that is. I mean, that you can imagine. I mean, we're so laid back, but
Really?
when we're on stage, it's an aggressive show.
I mean, I'm not afraid to go in that crowd. I'm not afraid to touch them or let them touch me. And we always, I'll sign to the last autograph to sign. And we have the picture that you can have your picture taken right there with us. We'll sign it right there. We do everything we can for our fans. I have a chef that has been with me forever. After the show, our own personal guest get a first class meal. They sit down and we would just wind down from there.
Yeah. Break bread with them.
Yep. It was fun last time, wasn't it?
Huh?
It was fun last time, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be fun again. And it's gonna be fun.
I'll be waiting for that.
There's a song right there
for what?
I'll be waiting for the jet to fire up.
I'll be waiting.
Yeah, there's a song right
There's a lot.
there. I'm waiting for the jet to fire
You
up.
know, well,
The fuselage has left the launch pad.
Stevie Rochelle
what
from
can we
Tough.
expect?
I love that guy to death.
It's 20.
And my next phone calls over the next few days are going to be talking to him about doing some stuff, with the Tough Boys. It's because we like places like the Alley because it's built for a rock star type atmosphere.
Do we have some new
nice
music
stage.
coming in the 2024 year?
God, that's what we're hoping. Get us all back in the same room. I know Mick's supposed to have a bunch of killer 80s rock riffs. Kenny's a songwriting machine.
That's what you're looking forward to. Thanks.
Oh yeah. Oh, you said. Oh, we're definitely recording. Yes, the new album this year. It should have been already started, but we had. What's that?
Well,
as soon as we get
that ready, make sure you contact me, and we'll get you on. Yeah. Well, Kenny will make sure you're in here first, just to come over and hold your hand. We'll get you on here
I
first.
can send you stuff to play right now for us.
Where else can we, other than YouTube, where else can we find
Spotify, iTunes, on your Roku stick, iHeartRadio. We're on all that. My solo stuff and the Juliet stuff.
All the streaming
You
sites.
can just have your own everything.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, type it in on any source and you can get it.
Because I mean, we can talk for another 2 hours and still not cover half the stuff. You were here in spirit.
Eddie was talking till I came on, and look at him. He turned into like a mummy over there. I'm like going, what's going on?
Well,
Mick is carrying it, and Robbie's yelling at me going,
yeah,
we need you. We need you. And I'm
going,
man, I'm getting ready to smash his phone. I am. Just use your phone and get the code. Do your email. Oh, yeah, just do that, Kenny. I was like, I don't even know what that means. I mean, I don't know my Facebook code. I ain't got no hide. If you want to look through my Facebook.
I had to change mine. I didn't know it either. I had to do a new damn password and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
When I got something out of what you said to me about might have to change your password or something. I was like, stop right there, because now you're going to start messing with the little bit of technology.
Was that what it was? It was the password.
Well, that's why I kept getting one there, because I'm the one that always does all this stuff for you.
Yes, next time.
Yeah.
I had to create a new password too. I fell out once.
Did you?
Somebody throw me a rope.
All right, so
y'all couldn't see down below there me going like help. So ignore those later if you see them.
That's why I kept logging out of here and going over here to talk
Yeah,
to
going
you.
right out. There goes Robbie. Here comes Robbie. Here goes Robbie.
We missed your questions.
Yeah, but
Sue.
I was like on the comments of the show. I was going, you know, help, help, help.
Oh, that's the ones.
Yeah.
And y'all
Help
just kept
is
talking.
on the way.
Help.
It's gonna be okay. Yeah, there's some funny stuff already up just to this point, and we're just scratching the surface. I'm ready to record
Well,
some new
no,
music.
Kenny,
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
please,
gonna be fun. The
please
new
know
record's gonna
that
be fun. You know, we're gonna do it right.
sign
We're
out.
gonna set it
Kenny,
up.
Robbie, Mick, Eddie, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Technical
Sue.
difficulties tonight. We'll do it again soon.
Maybe
Yeah,
we
'cause
could
I
like
got
do
more
it all in one
stories.
room next time.
Hey,
We'll go up to Kenny's retreat up in
Let's-
Tennessee and
Yeah, man.
do it there.
Or you can come up to
Yeah.
my house
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah.
Don't
I
be
still
afraid.
got a couple stories of me and Kenny already.
Then
How
we
this
can go
thing got
fishing.
back together.
I hope to
Like
see
when
you.
he drove all the way down from where a couple states away, and him and his guy Robbie Rock, they're talking about